Hi, everyone. I am Kristen V. Carter, and this is Trust Your Magic, where I talk to amazing innovators who have trusted their magic and inspired me to trust mine. Today's guest is such a pleasure. She actually tore the house down on the show Gospel Live, presented by Henry Louis Gates Jr., a show that changed my life, and I can't wait to talk about it with her. I'm speaking with psalmist, Oakland native, and Stellar Award winner, Lena Byrd Miles. Hey, Lena.
Hey, my Kristen. Thank you for having me. Don't have me cry in the first few moments. But thank you for that kind introduction.
Absolutely.
Beyond kind. Thank you.
You might be crying because even playing your songs and doing a little research on you, playing back Gospel Live, it moves me so much because that's just such a special moment for me.
Yeah, when it all sank in, even at the hotel, what I had just been a part of and making history, like all the days of the rehearsals, I was tearing up and telling my husband, like, this is like life-changing for real, for real. Like, I didn't know when the conference calls were happening, I didn't realize how big of a deal I was being a part of something. So, I knew it was a big deal, but I didn't know, like, all the pieces and all the people involved. Everyone on the staff was so kind, and it was just the best experience to date.
You really lit up the stage, but more so it's your personality and your love and your heart.
Thank you.
And you know what? For those of y'all that don't know, check out the show on PBS.
Yes, please.
But essentially, we called you to perform one song, and you wound up performing 3 songs. Actually, more than 3 if we count all the songs in the gospel medley.
Yes, and singing along backstage because you're so hyped watching everybody else.
Yes.
If you know their music, which a lot of the other artists covered, like the Hamiltons covering Something About the Name of Jesus. So we were hyped watching each other. That was even fun to see, the camaraderie amongst the artists too.
Yeah. Well, no, we'll get a little bit more into Gospel Live, but I really want to get into your life, your journey, and how you've made it to today.
Okay.
So we know about preacher's kids. We know about PKs, but you were actually a PGK. You are a preacher's grandkid.
Where y'all at? We don't hear about PGKs often, but we out here.
Oh my goodness.
Yes,
so tell me about growing up in your grandparents' church.
Okay, which they still pastor. Shout out to my papa and my granny, Pastor Milton, First Lady Gussie Starks. And if he was here, he would say, yes, your name is Lena Starks Byrd Miles.
Okay.
He gonna add that Starks too. But yes, I'm the oldest of 3, and my mother, she's the minister of music, still plays organ to this day at the church, and my dad plays bass there. So very musical family, and it was of course a family church. So when things are, shifting, you might not have all the choir members there. My grandkids gonna sing, or you might have them, and as proud grandparents, they just want to show my grandbabies can sing, and they be on key, and they, have little movements and all the little things. But singing there my entire life, even when I am home and can go back, I still go to my grandmother's, like, make sure you're there at the, if you can, we'll be looking for you. So that's even an honor that, I'm still celebrated at 42 years old, all these years of doing what I do, and then to come back home and still be received with love. And they're so, they probably wouldn't say proud and use that word, because a lot of times saints they don't like using that. They feel God hates the word pride or being, so, but, I definitely know that my, family is well pleased with the way my journey is going.
Okay.
So I feel supported. Yes.
Wonderful. Well, what was the first song you learned?
The first song I learned and sang everywhere as a little girl was I'm a King's Kid by DeLeon Richards. Now, my parents let them tell it. My mom said I was humming things in the crib, so that could have been whatever was on the radio, because we did listen to a lot of gospel radio on Sunday morning when you're getting ready for church. That was part of the routine. So, but that's the first song that I remember that I kind of had a little Bay Area tour, if you will, with people even different pastors calling my granddad saying, can little Lena come sing at our church at our 3:00 service, whatever. But that was my song. I'm a King's Kid. I'm an heir to the throne. Because DeLeon Richards, she was the it girl for gospel music as a child star. We were like mesmerized by anything she sang and did. So our children's choir probably covered a multitude of her music, but King's Kid was my song.
Okay, wonderful. So growing up, in terms of your household, were you able to listen to secular music as well, or only gospel music?
It wasn't like you bet not listen, but we knew we wasn't like, it wasn't just super welcomed either.
Yeah.
I don't remember my parents sitting me down saying, we don't listen to that in this house to that extent, but I snuck and would, if they watch. But no, I would, you get your Walkman and all of the things. I didn't have like purchases because we didn't have money like that.
Right.
Now, when you get to that age of buying those Columbia House,
I had Columbia House membership.
I probably still owe a penny for a CD.
Oh my goodness.
Then I started like veering off. But of course, trying to fit in with your friends at school, I would hear like your SWVs on the radio once I figured out where the hip hop stations or the R&B soul. Then I would tune in radio whenever I thought about it, but for the most part, all gospel in our household.
Okay. The only reason I ask that is because when I think of Oakland, I think of Tony,
Yes.
and Bay Area.
Yes.
Like, it's the first thing I thought. So I was like, oh man, I wonder if you also were like hyphy and all of that. But also, I got a little praise in it.
Yes, definitely at school when you like, this is the thing. Okay. Then you go home like, one of my favorite voices still is Coco from SWV. I felt like I could connect because she was doing runs and riffs and different tricks with her voice that was just like so astounding and mesmerizing. So she was one of the ones that became a signature voice. I don't know if you remember Shanice, I Love Your Smiles song. So certain ones I might not have known back then the titles yet, but if like a car was driving by blasting certain things, I would ask like a neighborhood kid who probably didn't go to church like that, like, who is that singing that? And then I would be like, that's how I would learn who some of the artists were, because we didn't have social media, we didn't have later, and we didn't have cable, so we didn't even have, we got cable when we got much older. So like when the jukebox and all the video things came, we were much older. By that time I knew who a lot of the artists were, but as a little girl, I just would have to be like, I hope it play again, or if somebody drive by or my older cousins, if they let me hear something because they were listening to it. But yeah, we didn't. My father purchased all the music pretty much. And my mom, being the minister of music, she was always looking and listening for something, or I should say keeping her ears open, because she had to teach something for choir rehearsal or teach something to us to sing at an event. So it was more so like that was the reason we had that type of music all the time. Awesome.
So as a minister's daughter, how did it feel growing up? I mean, were you in the choir growing up your entire life?
I was in 2 choirs. I was in the kids we called it the ABC choir. That was all the children. So probably like your age is 5 to about 12 or 13. And then you hit about 14, you can start singing in the adult choir, if you will, and leading songs. But I want to say I even led a song, I think with the adult choir, probably as early as like 11 or 12.
Okay.
Because of, you have a little rank when your granddaddy the pastor. So, or sometimes the person didn't, maybe not have shown up and I know it, or just whatever, or they have faith that you could do it.
Right.
So sometimes, thankfully, you do have family members that see things in you that you don't see right off, or they don't even realize that they're helping cultivate the gift, and you getting over the fright of the people in the audience and all of that, because church is a big part of all of that too.
Yeah. So when did you start to take music seriously, to say, okay, I want to do this professionally?
Probably 2 years ago.
Okay.
No, in the sense of loving music, I'll say I've always been passionate about singing and playing music for hours upon hours. Like in my room, it was an outlet for me. But I never saw Lena as the artist, because I was a licensed I still am a licensed cosmetologist. And I just, as a little girl, I was taking everybody's ponytails apart, playing in hair. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to be this hairstylist. I'm not, yes, I can sing, but that took precedence as a little girl. Like I even went to beauty school and telling people I want to open my own salon. And I had an aunt who is deceased, but she had a salon. So and everyone who ever did styled my hair, any beauty salon or supply I went to, I was just always like more so on radar for that. So I didn't think Lena Byrd Miles, the artist, was something that would be something I just loved to serve at my church and sing with my sisters. Once we became the Byrd Sisters and singing with my cousins, we had a group called Praise in Motion. That was funny because we started off as praise dancers. So I know people would laugh if they see me try to do that now. But we all got busy and we were in different chapters of school. So we started singing because we couldn't get choreography together. But even then I still didn't feel like, I want to be an artist. But I always took learning the material seriously. I always took going the extra mile and seeing what I could make my signature out of somebody else's song.
Yeah.
So it all came into play. I would say maybe age 14 or 15 when you start probably getting complimented more so by your peers. Because sometimes you feel like the adults, they're supposed to say nice things.
Yeah.
But when you got teenagers that's like, you could sing, you start like, I'm kind of tight. I'm kind of, it helps with because I was a shy in the beginning. I wouldn't look up from the ground much as a kid. I wouldn't, you might be singing about how happy you are in Jesus, but you look dry and like you never met him. So kids, a lot of times, the opposite is what's being displayed about what they're singing. But I would say about when certain people like your Kim Burrells came on the scene, or when I heard of Daryl Coley, also a Bay Area great legend who's now deceased, but they were people who did all these different fancy things with their voice. They didn't just sing straight, as people would say. They did runs, riffs, and change keys and come back, and all of that. That intrigued me. So when I started to try to emulate that is when I felt like, and people would say, one of my husband's friends, when he, before we met, he, I guess, called himself telling him about me, like, it's this girl that she sing like Daryl Coley, So that's what the word on the street was, that I could, match and emulate certain people. So that kind of hyped me a little bit more and made me take it even more serious. But to say that I saw Lena Byrd Miles, the artist, it was not in view for me.
Okay. So you were doing singing pretty much as ministry in your church, traveling around with your siblings, things of that nature. And then you were a cosmetologist. But for about how long?
I was licensed in 2003. I still renew my license, even though the pandemic is when I stopped totally. Trying to balance two careers that are thriving. It was getting tough. So I was like, maybe the pandemic happened just for me, because I didn't want to walk away from my clients in the comb and brush. And even some of my older clients were threatening, like, I'm going to come to that church with this pressing comb and say, put that mic down and press my hair. And just having to, as a singer, your busiest moments are usually on the weekend, but so are your clients' lives. And they have weddings and funerals, birthday parties, graduations, all these things that you're like, can you reschedule? Because I got to sing. It's kind of like, ooh, that's taxing on the heart. It's my wedding day. It's my daughter's, so things like that really would tug at my heart. But when the pandemic and all that happened, we couldn't do salons anyway. So it was kind of like, that was a little bit of an easy out for me to stop fully, to focus more so on the music, because I started doing a lot more things virtually, musically. So you feel like you're on the path to greatness in that thing. And then here come music, like, we want you to do this. God wants you to go this, shift and do, I want to use you here. And so I'm like, Lord, whatever you want, I'm for it. I just didn't know that was the plan, and how the doors would open the way that they open. My journey is so
so
unorthodox.
Exactly. Tell me a little bit more about that, because just like, when I'm doing the math of everything and researching you and things like that, I'm like, okay, Lena has such a beautiful voice,
Thank you.
You're coming out with music now. So it's all of this time between that I want to know about. So, when you talk about cosmetology, about how many years were you doing that? And then when did you feel the call on your life to move into music?
So I'd say from elementary school till graduation, of course, of high school, and even further, maybe 10 plus more years from there. No more. Because I stopped in 2020 in the salon. So yes, it was longer. I say at least 25 years.
Okay.
As far as like the church's sending for me, that's when I realized not just that, but social media was a big part of just the testimonies I would get.
Yeah.
Because it would be coupled with we enjoyed your music, but we're also in here laughing at your page, your Instagram page. Sorry, if anybody's not aware, I love to laugh, and I have a lot of funny things that I post on Instagram. But I remember one family in particular. It was a gentleman who reached out to me via direct message, and he said, we're in the hospital because one of my siblings was in a very bad car accident, and we're waiting to hear what the outcome is, whether she lived or passed away. And while we're doing that, we're laughing at your memes. Your memes are just helping our entire family. You don't even realize. And then he came back and was like, she ended up passing away. And we started watching videos of you singing. So I'm like, the fact that God would even pair my humor with my music to comfort this family. And I'm just probably at Walmart getting little Nick. You don't even realize that your gift is extending beyond the time that you sang the song or that you had the performances or whatever, that God is even using stuff like that to be a blessing to families. So that's when you're like, oh, this is a calling, because that's what I ultimately want anyway. I don't ever just want to be so great that that's all that's said. Like, she was great. No, I want to touch, impact, and ultimately point people to God, because that's who gave me the gift.
Right. Yeah. When I hear everything that you're talking about, from cosmetology to music to comedy, all of it is connection and community, and just using, not only God's messaging, but your heart as well. You have such a good heart. It's so obvious in everything that you do. You're just so sweet. So when you started getting on social media, about what year was that?
I want to say 2012. I remember.
Okay.
I had a Facebook at like 2009, 10. And then we had MySpace. So if we go further,
so were you doing comedy and music for that long on social media?
I think I always started. It seemed like later on you started seeing celebs be humorous a little bit more, even in Christian world, because a lot of people used to just be so serious on their Instagram, or to be headshots and stuff at Starbucks. And I just was like, I think I ended up following like pages where I saw the laughing emoji or whatever. So I would just repost things that I saw. And then people just started sending me, like, I became the goof page or the goof / church page. So, cause now you have your church of laugh, you have your other where they specifically look for things like that. But yeah, I think I was.
Okay.
Right away. Maybe not as much as I do so now, but because, back then you weren't really, when you didn't have followers, you didn't have nothing to be notifications wise anyway. I wasn't having to come back, so it would be days later like, oh, she laughed at my thing from 3 weeks ago. It wasn't a big deal, but now you're like, I might miss an email, that might be Kristen reached out, so you check it periodically.
You actually are very good about DMs. I will openly admit, I feel like every time I message you get right back.
I really try, if I feel like, because I get trolled a lot too, so a lot of times it's join this group and lead this group, do this, so I'm like but I will sift, and if I recognize, I'm like, let me respond right away so they can go about whatever they need, necessary to handle whatever.
Okay. So with the comedy and music, you were making your way, not thinking about it, building a following. And then Erica Campbell sees your page.
Still crazy to me.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Erica Campbell starts following me. I freak out. I think she started commenting on videos first. Well, at least before I realized I was being followed. So that alone was making me like, oh, Erica Campbell is commenting on my stuff. I've made it, And the first, I'd say, gospel celebrity that reached out, even before Erica, I want to say, and had me on her show, was Dorinda Clark Cole, though.
Okay.
She reached out after me being the Lena that I am. I went to a farmer's market and I started eating a baked potato that they sold there. It's gigantic. So I'm showing all the people. This is when Periscope was a thing. You remember Periscope?
I do.
And someone on Periscope, I don't remember who, but they were like, you should put some of this clip on your Instagram. Because in my Honda Accord, I had the Clark Sisters CD, one of their older CDs where their mom was still alive, singing with them. Had that playing. And at that time, I was in the low thousands of followers. So I never thought that a Dorinda Clark Cole would even see my post, let alone comment on it.
Right.
So I think, I go to bed and wake up either the next day. It might have been the same day, just later on in the day when my phone was going crazy. Like, Dorinda seen your video, she commented. And I went and checked, and she was like, I have to have you on my show. She kept her word. I've since been on the show 3-4 times.
Wow.
But she was one of the ones where I was just like, Then comes Erica and Pastor Warren. I'll try to shorten that story with me getting to meet them. Just my husband and I come in here. We live in Northern California, so we come to LA often is one of our favorite places to come and just be big kids, go to Disneyland, or we were coming to do that, or just shop in the garment district, things like that. Just hang out, go to the beach. So we just doing our thing that we do all the time, just randomly decide to come to LA to hang for a week. And I posted a picture of my Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, not knowing that that's what triggered Warren, because they were following, but I wasn't aware that he was, I knew Erica was following, but I didn't know he was, and he DM saying, hi, I'm Warren Campbell. You may not know me. Who don't know the great maestro? But I'm interested in seeing, he said, I feel like you could have a great career in gospel music, and I would love to be a part of that.
Wow. We're
in Roscoe's freaking out. Like, I'm telling my husband, he got a mouthful of greens and chicken. I said, Warren Campbell is in my DMs on Instagram. He going, nuh-uh, scooting the chair back with food. So he tried to meet up with us that night. Come to find out, we were at the Roscoe's that's in Anaheim, closer to Disneyland. He thought we were at the one that's like 5 minutes from his house.
Right.
So, of course, we meet some days later, and that's where he confirms, like, where do you live? How quick can you start working? All of I'm like, it's really finna happen. I'm finna sign with Mind Block and be on the same label as Mary. My husband is showing him videos of me on YouTube. They hitting it off. He had just flown out of town, I think, to do some promo things or pictures and stuff with Jay Bolin. So I remember her FaceTiming out of town. She had just so that was exciting. Talking to them, but I ended up signing in April of 2017.
Okay. So April 2017, about how long had that vision been in your heart, or were you even trying to be signed at that time?
By this time, I wasn't trying to be signed, but I actually was feeling a prompting to release something. I had a good friend, my friend David Jackson. We were like talking about how we were going to structure what we were going to do. And at that time, a lot of people had known me for doing like a lot of hymns and things, or praise and worship. So it was kind of like trying to figure out what vein, because I didn't want to box myself. I'm not just a hymn singer, or I'm not just a praise and worship. I like soul. I like, I was just trying to and I was like, that's probably why God didn't have it happen that way. Cause I would have been just Lena this person, but with, getting with Warren and just kind of exploring different things and seeing what we came up with in the studio. If you listen to my project, it's a plethora of things within the genre of gospel. There's contemporary, there's traditional, there's a hymn at the end. So that helped me unlock, but you needed a producer to help you, see those things that you don't even know to look for. So, but I did have a prompting to my husband and I, we were talking about it well, you should put this on, or maybe you should do this. And it was just, the list was getting longer. We're I don't want to put nothing out that have 43 songs. Nobody gonna listen to it. So, you needed expertise in that field. And even, I wanted as much of it to sound right as possible and be, top tier in its, engineering and all of that. I didn't want to just settle and spend, or barter. And sometimes when you do things like that, it might not ever get done because it's a favor to you versus you spending to do it and having the funds to do things at a certain caliber and not be proud of it. And that was the thing too. I was releasing my first body of work, it has to be something I'm proud of. And that I feel like we spent time really giving it our best, not just, I don't want it to sound like we frying chicken in the background.
Right, exactly.
The quality is so horrible. So
right. So talk about that process of defining your sound, and just what you were even going through emotionally at that time. Were you nervous? Were you, pouring out with music? Sometimes the process can be really interesting. So I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, defining my sound for the album is brand new. That's the title of it. But I think as we were going, we were just seeing how God wanted to use our chemistry, coming up with things creatively. And that's a thing that a lot of the time, and my humor again, when my single, This Is the Day, was released, it actually was him playing the song over and over and over. And at the chorus part where I say, this is the day, I was really playing like, this is the day in the studio. And he was going, wait, I like that. So you're discovering each other's response to, like, you think you playing, but that's really something that we can make a song out of. Right. That's a part of the defining process. And then later on, we had Jay Sean Champion, shout out to him. He's the other co-writer. So he came up with the verses, and then it just had me like, my little song that, started off as like me just being playful, really turned into something that is really blessing people. But yes, I was all of the word. I'll tell you, I was crying some days just from being grateful at seeing it come together. There was some frustration times where I was crying when the pandemic happened, because that put a halt to a lot of the things we couldn't gather because you had to quarantine, or you could only have so many people in your studio session. So that was frustrating, and having the dates and stuff have to change. And then when you're new to the industry things, you're not privy to all of that stuff. So Erica was a great mentor, help if you give her a name to it, just to say, oh yeah, this is part of the process. A lot of artists have to change their dates because you're like, I told Kristen that the album is coming out Monday, now 6 months later, or you feel embarrassed or whatever. So just learning that part, and now you're like, he was crying over that, but I was, just feeling like, okay, they never gonna get my music. That's how I felt at some time, at times, but overall excited. I think that's probably one of the best words I can use for the entire process. It's been exciting, even when we had to do sessions on Zoom because I couldn't come here and work. It was, and one of the times I came, Warren had COVID.
Oh wow!
He tested like the day that I landed. So we had to do it via Skype from my hotel room. I had to stay and try to do as much. And then another time, my mother-in-law ended up passing away from something that was going on with her body. But the whole coma that she went into happened the first day that I flew down here to work on the music. So you have things like that connected and attached to the journey that make you like, wow, for me to have to push through a lot of things to get this, done for the sake of whoever it'll bless and however it'll connect to the hearts that are listening. Because you don't know who can relate to, dealing with whatever you could have been dealing with when you guys were making the music. So moments like that, you realize, it's always been bigger than me. And you realize God's timing is perfect with how it all ends up working together. It's like just chill, and which I'm kind of that person anyway. Like I am, what's the word I'm looking for? Because I didn't come in with a list of, now Warren, this is what I want from you. Right. I want a song that sounds like Beyonce. I didn't have that. I was just like, whatever you hear or whatever I'm just excited and thankful for the process. I'm thankful that I get to do this. It's a blessing that I'm flipping out that I'm sitting here in the same studio that Mary recorded in, and that other legends you've worked with. It's like I've always had just a grateful posture that I get to do this.
Yeah. It seems like your journey and your trials and tribulations, they speak to other people through your music. And so just grateful that the CD came out. My favorite song.
Come on, give it to me.
Walk on Water. Yeah. I love that song.
Thank you, Kristen.
And you know what was so funny? The video, we share a hobby. Skating. I was like, ooh, look at her go.
If I would have known you then, you would have had to have flown to Atlanta.
And so in 2023, you won a Stellar Award for New Artist of the Year. Yes. So tell me a little bit about that journey and just winning that award.
Oh, if you saw any other footage.
I saw your behind the scenes footage.
Yes. Okay. Because there's some later on where I was ugly crying again, the little tear streaks all in the makeup. But I was in shock. One of the best days of my life. I mean, the love with my phone. Even when I got to see, people started sending me DMs of them whispering my name as they were opening the envelope to announce me. There's no feeling like that. Yeah. You hear them going, Lena, 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 like say Lena. And then hearing them go, yeah, when they said, I mean, I'll never be able to like fully express how exciting that felt to see those videos. And I'm thankful to my friends who sent those to me. So I'm like, I can't never delete. I'm going to have to just buy another phone if I take all the storage with, because that took up a lot of storage in my phone. Someone got me from the angle of, you know, first putting my hands over my face and my mouth like, oh my God. And then, I wouldn't have wished it to happen no other way. It was only sad that my husband was at the hotel because we thought the announcement of me winning was actually announced at the pre-show, but we thought it was going to be. So I almost came like in a t-shirt and some jeans because I didn't think they were having my category that night. So I was like, I'm glad I put on a heel and something shiny. But my husband, he said he was tearing up because he was like, he drove from the Bay Area to Vegas to be there for that moment. And he was in the hotel sleep. Like he happened to get on Facebook and saw all the love. He was like, wait, she won? That's not supposed to be tomorrow. So he wasn't there. The Campbells weren't there. They wanted to be there. So everybody was like, they were a little disappointed, but I still was like hugging all kind of people with the trophy and taking pictures. I mean, unexplainable, but so awesome. I don't know how to express
That's incredible. That's incredible. Well, my pastor, Pastor Aaron Lindsay, is the person who said, Lena Byrd Miles needs to be on Gospel Live. And he ran down everything. He talked about you winning the Stellar. And I said, you know what? We're going to bring her on this show. And I am so grateful that we did. I knew some of your music, but I hadn't really followed, if I'm honest. And so I was like, let me get really familiar. But when we talked to you the first time, I was like, okay, I feel something special with this and with the show. And I'm just so grateful that you were able to be a part of it.
Yeah, it was one of the best yeses I could have. And thank you, Pastor Aaron, which I love. That's like a big brother. But he's awesome within his own right. So just to even, out of all the people he could have selected to say, so many could have been on this special.
You know what? And to, kind of chime in there, when I was hired to work on the show and we thought, okay, who are all the artists we're going to put together? He, from the beginning, was like, Lena is carrying the torch of gospel music. I mean, he had nothing but incredible things to say. If you really want to be contemporary and you want to keep it moving forward and make sure that we are honoring the past, present, and future of gospel, Lena is it. And I was like, all right, let's give her a call.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that with me.
Absolutely. And so just coming together with your set initially, we were thinking, just a little tidbit for y'all, we were thinking that we were going to have a Clark Sisters medley that would include a number of artists. Yeah. But it became really clear that we wanted everybody to have their moment to shine, their moment to express. And we knew that the Clark Sisters were like, oh, we signing off on Lena. We co-signed that. We know that she's going to do us justice. So just talk a little bit about just your preparation, because I know I can share about my preparation as the executive producer, but just as a performer, what was going through your mind just as we were setting everything up?
Of course, love got to go out to Zoe Harris.
Yes, our music director.
He was a part of the musical director. We were on the call as well with, and I started claiming him as cousins because my grandmother's maiden name is Harris. But just right off, everyone was so kind, all the band, in accommodating me. And we had those rehearsals, even with the other segment, not just the Clark Sister part, but when I got the congregational moment and just trying to piece that together. And shout out to the amazing background singers. Just the whole process of getting there. Of course, we were nervous because it's the Clark Sisters. We want to do it justice, but just giving love to Zoe on the way that they constructed the medley to go, and even adding the Stevie Wonder piece toward the end, which was the inspiration for Twinkie Clark's You Brought the Sunshine. I felt like that was just super amazing. Like how it all, and even giving me my little moment to take my bow because I get teased that I run off the stage too fast.
Really?
That's the thing.
Oh no, we were like,
so y'all
stay
don't
up
even,
there,
and I
get your
said,
applause.
they don't even know how awkward it was for me to be like, I want to run. I want to run. I want to run to you.
Oh man.
But no, so even Warren was like, yeah, I'm proud of you. You actually took your vow. But my husband our family loved how it really was special made for me, that moment to do all of the things. And I was at home working on it. I was trying to make sure the face was together, all the little things, but still, and it was awesome to feel free enough to still be me and try to do, that's four sisters you trying to pay tribute to. Yeah. So you like, I got to add a piece of each one some kind of way. But it's like the best way I know to do is try to sing it and do a piece of whatever you hear each one of them doing and fit it where you can. When I saw them vouching in the I really think I saw Kiki's comment first. Like someone from the family once for the post. I was able to post it on my Instagram and then the feedback just kept rolling in. But like, you had the likes of Candy from Escape commenting. People I had never, I think I had comments from Queen Latifah. I mean, that's to date my post that I felt like, wow, how did these people see it? And something similar happened to me like that. Tamar Braxton followed me after singing at DMX's funeral. Yeah. But it was You Brought the Sunshine.
I was going to say, now you sang that there and it sounded completely different on our show, which is so funny, just the ways that you're able to interpret and also just have renditions. I was like, oh man, like both amazing. Yeah, but I was like, oh my gosh, it's the same song.
Thank you. Yeah, and that was arranged in that way by their Kanye Sunday service people. So just the fact that I had to really be, make sure you don't mix both versions. Because you can get like that scene in the Michael Jackson American Dream movie. It was like, there's so much music in my head, mother.
Girl, listen, wait, I got to turn to the camera. Now, I watch the Jacksons and American Dream almost every other week. Okay. I love that miniseries. The fact that you even brought that up.
We did too. Now, this is how ghetto we were in our household, though. We taped it when it came on TV, but I think one VHS had something else on it. So you got so much of it on one, so much of it on the So we would be like, where the other tape with the whole? So when you lose a VHS, you just watch what you have left.
Exactly. I just watch it on YouTube. They got the whole movie on there. They do. That's why I watch it on YouTube all the time.
And we still say little things, the rose petals and all the little, the Jason Weaver parts, when he was little
Go
Michael.
to bed, Joseph. Yeah. Go to bed.
And the ice cream, I want pecan.
That is hilarious.
Yes.
That is hilarious.
All Black people should have that in there.
I'm
it's
like,
some good laughs.
But no, just going back to Gospel Live and thinking about that process, just to give you a little insight before we even got to the performer list. Okay. For me, that show came at a time in my life where I was really prior to Gospel Live, was really starting to doubt if I was going to stay in television. So I have been in television for almost 2 decades. Sometimes, in production, you can feel overlooked, or you're just part of the format. You're just part of the schedule, as opposed to we are ministering. We are serving the community. We are praising God. Yeah. And so, for me, prior to Gospel Live, I had experienced those things where I was feeling really beat down by the industry, really feeling like, man, the reason that I'm in television is because I love people. I want to have good programming, but I also want to be kind to people, and feeling like folks weren't kind to me. And so the COVID years brought all of that on. And I told my agent before we found Gospel Live, I was like, listen, I need to go back to my roots. I need to go back. I need to find a music show. I'll even do you 7 or better. That's how low it was. I was like, I'll give you average. And I'm not even like a average person, but I said, I just need something where I feel like I can do my job, do it well, and I can serve people. And we found Gospel Live, and the production company, shout out to Dun & Dusted, McGee Media, and also Friends at Work, Henry Louis Gates, all of them. They were so kind and really gave me the floor in the room to do what we wanted to do. That does mean pitching artists. that does mean trying to figure out what legendary artists we should have, which new artists we should have, which songs, also educating about songs because, you know, some of us, even myself included, I grew up in the church, but there's certain songs I'm like, oh, okay, which one should we have on the show? Where should it be placed? All of that. Okay. Because we wanted to celebrate like the full timeline of gospel. But what people weren't expecting was the Holy Spirit, which I was just so excited. Like you guys got out there. When I tell you the audience was around the block.
That's amazing to me.
And
too.
It was friends and family, folks that love all of us, love the Lord. It was not a staged audience. Yeah. So people came in ready to praise.
And it was packed house.
It was a packed house. And I think the energy of us wanting to do good, really serve. I think the combination of you all as performers wanting to bring your heart, the audience being ready. Also just the fact that we were the only show up during the strike. So I was able to hire folks that I haven't worked with in years. I was able to hire my pastor, and he was just like, well, what do you need? I'm willing to serve. What do you need? I said, I need you to get your friends on this show. And that is really what I told him. And just the combination of all the love, it
felt like that, Kristen, the whole time, even from the drivers, being polite, everything just felt easy and it didn't feel like nothing.
Yeah. And that just is a testament, I think, to everybody. But, you know, I say all the time, it would be a show about praising God where I felt like my whole life changed. It wasn't just a show for me. When you guys got up, I promise you, your rendition of You Brought the Sunshine, by the time you get to the end, every single time I watch you perform, even now, it brings tears to my eyes because it was one of those nights that we just had like a moment in the sun. I'm like, thank you, Lord. Thank you. It was a one take. Everybody was asking, wait, like all the audience, because the audience is ready for us to do redos and to be there for 3 hours. They were like, wait a second. We were just here. We're going home. I said, yeah, because you can't duplicate what happened. So if we missed the shot, we just missed the shot because we got the moment. We experienced the moment. And for the show to do what it has, I think for our lives has just been a testament. It's been such a joy.
Even the rehearsals, Kristen, I'll say was joyful. It was so much fun. I didn't want to leave, even though we were all scheduled to come and go and do our thing. I was like, I don't feel in love. As soon as I go here, I don't want to go back to my, I got to do what I'm supposed to do. But just because sometimes you don't even get that type of joy in a rehearsal. Right. It's not always fun to prep for what's coming. And then the actual staging and the stage rehearsal that day, I posted clips of that and that version of You Brought This. And people were going crazy in the comments, just when y'all doing it again? I'm like, well, it wasn't none of them. Things like that.
And you know, it was so funny that we were told, and this is a little tidbit. So we were told nobody should post because wait. And it was funny. You started posting and I said, we're going to let Lena go. We're going to just, cause this is joyful. We're going to let her have it. But because the show was taped in October and we weren't airing until February, we were holding our posts, but we were so excited that you posted. So I'm like, no, it's okay. Because it was all the joy and all the energy and all the love. You can't duplicate that. You can't duplicate that moment. And it was just so special. And you tore, when I tell you the roof flew off with you, and we had amazing performances the whole night. It's I can't, the show from top to bottom was amazing. All the way. But just the way that you stepped in with the medley, and shout out to Erica Campbell.
Yes.
I can't say enough. We were able to do promo and she was gracious enough. Not every artist allows the showrunner to sit and do interviews, and it was just so kind of her. We were able to do some partner interviews, and I was like, wow, she's really graceful to share in that way, share that space. So shout out to you, Erica. She had already, taken us there, and a bunch of artists had done a great job, and then you come out with this medley. I'm a soldier in the army. Listen, during the edit, when we were editing the show, we would be like, we're soldiers in the army of the Lord. We soldiers. We gonna get this done.
It was one of them that you can't help but let it just, oh my gosh. One of the best, like I said, even in rehearsal, it was so much fun to kind of play around and see what we came up with that, and all the background singers having fun, seeing all the producers and the camera people having all the fun, seeing them sing. Like Misty was, shout out to Misty Anderson, who was getting the footage for me and sending it to me, but she was like, girl, this finna be. So I apologize, PBS, for posting too.
It is okay.
If you let me come back, I won't do it again. But I'm thankful that it did build whatever anticipation that it did, because I was just so excited. Like, I've never been a part of anything this awesome that was so just peaceful throughout the whole thing. Yeah. There was nothing that I could say like, oh, okay, this threw me, or she looked at me a certain way. But even you, Kristen, just being graceful with how you handled each of us with any questions we had, or if we felt away, you're approachable. So it felt like I could come and say, okay, my eyelash coming off. Can I? Some people you don't even feel like you can. Yeah. Be have any type of vulnerability. So thank you for that's a way God uses you, by being at ease. We may not know that you behind or going, but you wear it well. If you're, if whatever you're carrying is heavy, you wore it well that week, because we didn't know.
I say Gospel Live is the gift that keeps on giving, because there were so many blessings inside of the taping, post-production. We are all still raving about that experience, and it really renewed my spirit. Yeah. I had a great time that night. I think even having the opportunity to do the welcome before you all started, it was really on me to just thank everybody for their support and to just have a good night. And it was funny, one of my friends, shout out to Brian Henry, who was the DJ as we were welcoming everyone in. He was like, Kristen, it's rare that people thank folks before the show. And I hadn't thought of it in that way, but I wanted everybody to be in a spirit of gratitude and joy.
That set the tone with the leader, because it was your vision, and you felt the love based off of how you guys gave it.
Yeah, it was everything I could have dreamed of and more. Just being on that stage and feeling the love from everyone. And then it's funny when you said, like, you took the moment to, feel the love, because when I tell you that church lit up.
I mean, looking out and seeing that, even seeing Pastor Aaron and First Lady, they cheer. You have. And the likes of Kenny Lattimore is out there. It was like, Lena, don't fan out, because that's the thing. And then I'll get clumsy and trip over my shoes and all the things. Like, I didn't know that was him. But seeing that, and even, how you get the notifications of people from the balcony taping and saying, we don't know who this girl is, but we enjoyed her. That even did something, just because you can get after, of course, I'm in my 40s, and you almost feel like, am I too old to be doing this sometimes? Or is it the timing, for certain things and certain opportunities? Do I belong? You have those self-doubting moments sometimes, even with people like, you the bomb and da-da-da-da. You still feel like, am I equipped, or am I enough? So to get those things, that's a renewing of us too. Like you said, a gift that keeps on giving, because you can.
I have another friend of mine who said, Kristen, folks were running from work to get there, and it was the place to be that night. And so sometimes you don't know how your work is going to touch people, but when they get in the building and then there's like, oh man, this is a Holy Ghost good time. It's not just about the camera, the show, whatever. We were really able to let loose. And it's one of my most favorite memories of my life, to be able to have all of us in harmony, for us to be able to call you to be here today. Yeah. It speaks to just the spirit and the magic of that night. And I'm just so grateful. I'm beyond grateful.
I was excited to come. They feel like some cousins. So, and Quan, I mean, even that night, everybody was like, Lena's like our new best friend. I'm like, I'll be there. Because you need each other. And definitely as Black women, you see the negative side of us with reality shows and this one can't stand this one. You see that more than you do see being loved upon, and just, hey girl, you got your magic, I got my magic. Let's put our magic together. Yeah. And it all bring glory to God. Right. To see it be displayed that way was just, we didn't want to leave that space. Everybody was just like, we gotta go home.
That's how we felt. We were up until 2 a.m. singing "I'm a soldier in the army." We literally were packing up singing that song.
Wow. So it's really built the whole family.
Yeah, I love that. So we mentioned a little bit about magic. So I just want to tie it up and one, just thank you so much for your time. But how do you trust your magic? How do you trust your gifts?
Definitely by knowing it ain't Lena. So, you know, the church would say, we don't believe in magic anyway. It's not everything you do. Every good and perfect gift comes from the Lord, comes from God. So I know that my magic, if you will, could be stripped at any time if I mishandle, if I don't take it as serious, if I, you know, just in the natural, if you eating bad things and putting things in your body, it's going to affect your voice and all of that. Right. So being that this is an instrument that I can't put in a case, I have to be cautious. I have to be careful. I can't smoke and do all, you know, if you're gifted, but your health is failing, you can't, you know, travel to be on things like that. But that's a thing as far as just being wise enough to say, God gave me this and I want to glorify him with everything that comes with it. And I want to be excited to do so. I don't want it to ever look like the kitty Lena that was like, I'm happy in Jesus, but I look depressed. It's about it. Cause that's all of it ties in your presentation and what you wear. If you're friendly upon arrival before you even pick up a mic, all of it matters. So that's a part of, I feel, trusting the magic to be a entire package, not just a gift and then you have this horrible personality, this great gifting, but you're not nice to people, or, you know, not engaging and not even trying to make friends amongst the industry, stuff like that. I take it that serious. So.
Okay. And I know you're doing a whole lot of shows all over. You're ministering all over the country. Every time I see your Instagram, you're going somewhere. So I'm just grateful that you continue to trust in the Lord, trust in your gifts, and also just replenish yourself along the way. I know that can be a challenge, but you seem to do it well, and I'll be continuing to pray for you.
Thank you, Kristen. And thank you for having me with this. It's been so much fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, just thank you for being you.
Sure.
It's been so special.
Likewise. And we didn't cry.
I'm surprised.
We could have, because I felt a moment, I was like, I think this finna be it. But then I made my body go back. So, especially with you sharing how you feel, because none of us saw that.
It was such a transition. I think, what has it been? I started the show June of 2023. So the fact that it's been a little over 12 months where I feel just renewed and joyful, peaceful, aligned in my purpose and my passion.
Because what if you would have said no?
Right.
You know, like there wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have been the same if you weren't a part. So that even made me feel like, what if she just was like, forget this, I'm done.
Yeah. And so I feel like God heard my prayers and my cry, and also my desperation for joy and for community
with your work.
And so it has just really answered so many questions for me. And I just tell everybody, you'll get to the other side. Sure, there might be valleys, but there's going to be a peak on the other side, or it might be raining now, but there'll be sun.
We ain't crying on this podcast. No tears. Thank you.
Well, Lena, where can the people find you?
You can find me at Lena Byrd Miles on my Facebook and Instagram. I don't tweet much, so nothing there really happening. Keep on watching Gospel Live for me and Kristen. Keep the views on YouTube or whatever on the when it's on TV. Keep watching, and then music-wise, Lena Byrd Miles on all digital platforms.
So if you liked what you listened to or watched, please subscribe and tell a friend, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for checking out Trust Your Magic.